Hello and hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. How you doing? All right, so the election's over. What's the next step? I was thinking now they got to elect Merz to the chancellor. But first, I guess first they form coalitions. They do the whole coalition negotiation type stuff, come to an agreement. So that's on the agenda. I guess I heard Merz say, he's trying to get it done before Easter. So I was just curious to learn more about that, what the potential coalition, most likely coalition may be. And I also had a question in my video, I was like, well, I mean, they could just form one with the AFD. I know that's taboo, but what if they did that? And so this video stuck out to me. From Sky News Australia, check them out, link down below. CDU is not going to entertain coalition with AFD. Okay. All right. I mean, that kind of spells it out right there, but I do want some more details, so let's see.
Top story this morning, the Conservatives are back in power in Germany, but the rise of the far right is the strongest measure, perhaps, of where Germany may be heading.
I will say, I think this channel is, biased to the right. Just so you know.
Particularly going to the next election. Joining us live from Berlin is political commentator Matthew Karnichnig. Matthew, thanks for your time this evening, your time. So what sort of coalition might have to be formed here?
This dude looks like he's in jail.
Well, that is really the question of the evening here. This is a very tight race once you get down below the top 2 or 3 parties, and it's really going to depend on whether some of the smaller parties get into the German parliament or not. There's a 5% threshold, and if the Liberal Party in particular doesn't make it in over this 5% mark.
That's the AFD lady. Damn, she's happy.
The presumptive new chancellor, Friedrich Merz, is going to have a very difficult time because it looks like he's going to have to build a 3-party coalition with the center-left Social Democrats and then the Green Party, which would really put him in a bit of a box because he's more on the conservative side.
Yeah, that actually is insane. That makes me scratch my head. He's going to form a coalition with the Greens and the SPD. So isn't this kind of then like a win for the left?
The center-right.
Because at that point, it's like, okay, well, how many? I guess I'd have to look at the exact breakdown of seats and stuff like that.
Side of the political spectrum.
So will the far-right AFD even get a look in here when it comes to this coalition?
Well, I don't think this time around. This is a very controversial issue, as we've heard in the previous report in Germany. Friedrich Merz of the CDU has made clear that he is not going to entertain a coalition with the far right, even though with them he would have a clear majority. Together they would have almost 50% of the votes, but he's sticking to what the Germans call.
So does Friedrich as the leader kind of get to make the decisions? Do the leaders of the parties get to decide the coalition agreement?
A firewall here, refusing to even discuss the possibility of a coalition, but the math makes it very difficult for him to forge another option here. He was hoping for a 2-party coalition, clearly with the Social Democrats, the center left, and that is looking now like it could be slipping out of his.
So in some kind of weird way, he was hoping that the SPD would do well, just not as well as him.
Grasp.
So, I mean, just looking at the numbers and comparing to the last election, which no doubt you're aware of, the AFD, it's doubled its vote, 10% in 2021 to now 20%. So that's 1 in 5 voters support the AFD. So is it wise to shut them out?
Many people I speak to here say this firewall is going to crumble in the coming years, that this isn't sustainable because they just keep getting stronger. I think that there was a lot of fear in the political center in Germany before this election that the AFD was going to be even stronger because of these recent.
My God, that would be so much drama in Germany. I don't even want to see that happen because that would just be too... I mean, I want to see whatever you guys want to happen, you know what I mean? As I say, I think I often say that. I just want to see democracy kind of prevail. But that would be, wow. If the fight, if they formed a coalition. imagine the protests then. Holy shit.
Recent terrorist attacks that we've had here with migrants coming and stabbing people. We just had such an incident on Friday, in fact, and there is a lot of frustration in Germany, as there is across Europe, with the issue of migration, with asylum, all of the resources that is going into dealing with the asylum seekers, and this is obviously a feeding frenzy for the far right, and there is nothing on the horizon that looks like it's going to get any easier for the establishment politicians to deal with this issue. So you have to assume that the AfD is going to continue to strengthen, and it could get to the point where the center right will have no other option but to pull down that firewall and say, okay, we're going to go into a coalition here, which is exactly what we've seen in other countries in Europe and Germany.
That would be crazy. That would be freaking crazy. Oh my God. Stuff is really getting real in Germany, huh?
Because of its history, that is a bit more controversial to
to say the least. Yeah, I think to say the least, it's a bit more controversial.
Put it mildly.
I mean, look, you know, when you said it at the top there, Matthew, that coalition, that messy coalition off the top involving the Greens and, you know, the centre right, I mean, that just sounds like a disaster waiting to happen that's just going to feed more people into the AfD, and they could well be the...
It definitely sounds like the coalition that's going to happen is probably going to... It's going to be a very diverse coalition, huh? Like, it's going to be hard to get stuff done in this government, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, in my opinion. I mean, sometimes I think, you know, it's good for the government to have some checks and balances on itself. So it can't just, like over here in the States right now, you know, it doesn't feel like there's enough balance in the government to where it's just like bulldozer straightforward with the entire Republican agenda or Trump agenda, which is a bit concerning just because mainly it's like, well, you want there to be another side to at least be able to fight it and for them to argue about it. Yeah, no.
Even though...
Then again, I guess he's the king now, I know. I mean, I saw his Instagram post, so he's the king now, so I guess he doesn't really need any checks and balances. Anyway, Friedrich Merz hopes to form coalition with Social Democrats after election victory. This was just another one. I mean, this kind of gave it away for me. I was like, oh, okay, he's trying to go with the SPD. That's interesting. For some reason, I didn't even view that as, like, on the table. I viewed it, I just kind of looked at, like, okay, which parties are conservative and which are, well, I don't want to say liberal, because that's, like, an American way of looking at it. You know, left and right. Which ones are left and right? And I assumed they would only do a coalition with each other. On the left, on the right. But a coalition between... Hold on. Okay, so a coalition with the CDU and the Greens, that would be like 40%, and then SPD would put it to like 56. Okay. Okay, so that would be enough. They're kind of just like ignoring this big blue block right here. They're just skipping over them and doing a coalition with the next two groups. Which at that point, those are pretty far left. Like, I mean, the only major party more left is the left. So it's just kind of funny to me. I guess there's some other, you know, major parties. I shouldn't say that, but yeah. I don't know, man. I don't even know what I'm talking about, obviously. Like, I mean, that should be obvious. If that's not obvious, let it be known. That's kind of the point. I really don't know what I'm talking about.
Even though his party came first, the man on track to become Germany's chancellor is concerned and a man in a hurry.
In response to statements made...
Does Merz speak any English? Not that I expect him to speak English when he's in Germany, but I hope he does. I'd like to hear him speak. Whoa, this is like a new thing. I've never seen Google just say something like, Merz speaks German, French, and English. It's not like AI generated, it's just there as a fact. Okay, good.
Made in Washington last
So he does.
week It is clear that we Europeans must now be able to act very quickly and that we must be able to organise our own defence capability very quickly. This is an issue.
Oh, our own defense. Yeah, okay. Yes. You guys were telling me about this in the comments as well. It's kind of, this is the most relevant thing to America.
That is absolute priority in the coming weeks.
So he urgently wants to hold coalition talks with the Social Democrats and form a new government in the coming weeks. Even though the SPD of current Chancellor Olaf Scholz suffered a historic defeat, both parties together have a narrow majority in parliament.
This victory for the Christian Democrats is bittersweet. They got most of the seats, but the real winners are the far-right Alternative for Germany. With a firewall in place against doing deals with the far right, forming a stable government quickly in a politically fragmented landscape won't be an easy task.
By winning 152 of the 630 seats in parliament, the AFD will be a force to reckon with, even outside government.
I don't like this. I don't know this guy, but I don't really like his face. I'm not going to lie. Not going to lie.
Government. Its leader, Alice Weidel, already hit out against Merz's yet-to-be-formed coalition.
Diese Regierung, so wie sie geformt wird,
nobody will take this government as it is being formed seriously. And above all, we want one thing. We want peace in Ukraine, for the Ukrainians and for the Russians. And above all, we want to enjoy a very good relationship with the Trump administration, which is doing an excellent job.
die einen hervorragenden Job.
Okay, I see why Trump and Elon Musk, the first lady, supported AFD. I hear.
Macht.
The Left Party, which has been most vocal against the far right, surprised many by winning 64 seats in parliament, largely through support from younger voters.
We will draw everyone's attention to us and be a very loud voice for social justice and against a shift to the right.
Merz warned that if the next government fails to address grievances in Germany about immigration and an ailing economy, the AFD will only become more popular. It's now up to him and his coalition partner or partners to turn the tide. Step Fasten, Al Jazeera, Berlin.
I definitely have got the vibe that from the comments that most of the people, I don't know, it's kind of funny to me, like you guys, well, it's kind of funny because only 28% of you guys did effectively vote for Merz. I mean, you voted CDU. In that way, it's very different than here in America, where, whichever candidate wins out of the two, they're going to have a broad base of support in America. But and in Germany, the guy who might become chancellor doesn't necessarily have a broad base of support. Like, from what I'm getting in the comments, most of you guys don't like him. And only 28% of you, 72% of you guys didn't vote for that party. So it's interesting to look at it through that lens. Like, despite them winning, most people don't seem to like them. Oh boy, you know what? I just realized I gotta react to some of these comments. That's where the real info is gonna be. Or at least the real opinions. LOL, form a coalition with a losing party. What a system. Damn. I mean, no one party got a majority vote, so I don't know how you're saying one party is a losing party. Like, what party is he referring to? The SPD? Anyway, you can't take some comments too seriously, guys. Definitely understand that. You know what I mean? As a YouTuber, I understand that. You got to understand that in your core. People in Germany who want make government... Huh? What? How many months the government... What? I don't know what you're saying. Conservatives and SPD. Good alliance. Period. Might be sarcasm. Not a wise move. They should make coalition with the minor parties. Oh, interesting. How would that work? What does he mean, the minor parties? It doesn't seem like there's enough seats in the minor parties for them to make a coalition. You're going to have to either do it with the AFD or the SPD. because, I mean, I guess like AFD and SPD is almost, you know, it's like 37%. I guess if you got every other little party together, you could do it. But why would the CDU want to like make a coalition with the left and the Greens and the BSW? Like, why would they want to do that? Who voted him? I don't know anyone who voted him except a grandpa. Oh, and I will say, have I said yet that I understand now that Angela Merkel hates Merz? I understand that now. Thank you, guys. I was just like talking out of my butt. Because like I said, I don't know anything. And let me be clear. I just saw a picture of them together laughing. And they're in the same party, so I assumed, you know. I didn't know they had a whole big feud. So, whoops. So, the people of Germany wanted to get the SPD out by voting for the CDU, just to have the SPD back in again. That is funny. That is a little bit funny. I didn't even think about that. 16% of people also wanted them. That is a very low amount, I will say. I'm actually impressed by how distributed the vote is, you know? I mean, once again, it's probably just because I'm so used to the two-party system, but it's pretty like, it's kind of a beautiful distribution. You look at it, it's like a bell curve. The CDU, then AFD, then SPD, then the Greens, then the left. You know? Okay, now I'm going to read some comments on the Sky News one, which I can already see. Be prepared if you don't like the far right. Be prepared, guys. I'm just curious to see what people are saying. The AFD are not far right. Read their electoral platform policy document. I would vote for them if we had an equivalent here. Who even knows where you're from, dude? Where's here? Far right. Common sense. They love to frame it as far right. Doesn't really matter. Far right, really? Wow, every comment's the same, dude. Funny how the media rarely ever refers to party as far left. Over here in the States, they do. Over in Germany, I mean, clearly, I think because of the history, there's a lot more hesitation about the far right than the far left. Fair enough. I think that's fairly said. Please stop the BS. AFD are definitely not far right. Wow, every comment is like this. It almost makes me wonder sometimes when I see comments that are literally all the same, not to be like conspiratorial or anything, but it's like, is this like a bot farm? I mean, I don't know. Maybe not, maybe yes. I don't know. And you know what else is a huge like indicator to me that it might be is when you see these names that are like Frank Tully 3065, Sagal Gilbert 319, Will 121. You know, like why is every name John Fisher 247? Why do they all have like two names and then a number? And it sounds so generic. You know, like let me go back to the other one. Look at this, guys. All of a sudden, well, okay, this guy has numbers, but it's not like, you know, John Smith. This is the only one here that kind of fits that format. Kedude 69. Okay, so now this is completely shifted into me trying to figure out if these are bot farm comments or not, but bear with me, guys. I mean, I think it's interesting. I mean, I can see a clear difference in how these usernames don't look as fit to like a format. Although these almost look like a different format. I'm not going to lie. Like, what is this dash? Why are there so many dashes with random things after? Dash N4O. Dash Z D8Q Z. Dash C9H. It's like, what? Is the internet even real anymore, man? Look. Master Blaster 5170. Why do they keep saying far right? Like, this is a legit concern of mine that so many comments on political videos I think might be fake. I think they might be. I don't know, though. Look at this. Patrick Patterson, 304. Stop with the far right. Like, that's what they all say, and they've all got the same name. Okay, I think I've made my point, and now I just feel a sense of existential dread. Not even about politics, but more so about, like, damn. Like, the internet's a really important tool for information and communication across the world. And it's supposed to be this tool that we all would use to kind of, like, unite and have debate and discussion. And has it been co-opted in some way on these, like, comment forms? To where it's, like, fake psyop comments. I don't know. Do I sound tinfoil hat? I mean, I would think I was tinfoil hat right now, except there are literally, like, CIA, FBI reports that are like, yes, there are Russian bot farms commenting, you know, yes, there are 1 million Chinese bots trying to sow political dissent in Western countries. Like, that is, like, a actual fact. God damn, this video went off the rails. Okay, I'm done. I'll see you guys tomorrow.